One of the questions we're frequently asked is whether my LLC should be member managed or manager managed. Let's talk about the distinction between them for just a moment. In a manager managed limited liability company, there are two separate roles. One is for ownership, that's the member, and one is for management or operation of the company, and that's the manager. So in a manager managed operating agreement and manager managed limited liability company, there are two separate roles. In a member managed limited liability company, both management and ownership are housed in the same individuals or held by the same individuals. There's four things that you want to think about when making a decision of whether you want to choose a manager managed operating agreement or a member managed operating agreement. And those are control, ease of management, asset protection, and future growth. When it comes to control, you should consider how much authority the manager should have. In a member-managed operating agreement and in a member-managed limited liability company, the members have authority that is much broader than it would be for a manager. A manager would only have that authority which is granted to him or her by the operating agreement. In a member-managed limited liability company, the members could exercise virtually unlimited control that could bind all of the other members for those decisions that are made. So in this way, you can have greater control and a more fine-tuned control with a manager-managed operating agreement. You could identify that a manager could only spend up to a certain dollar amount, say $1,000. Beyond that amount, they would have to obtain the consent of the members. Whereas with a member-managed operating agreement, it could be difficult to control the authority that an individual member has. Another one is going to be ease of management, and member-managed operating agreements and member-managed LLCs are easier to manage because there's only a single role for each individual to hold. They would be the member managers, and there's only one set of documentation related to the decisions that are made by the member managers. Whereas with a manager-managed operating agreement, an LLC, it can be a bit more complex. You would have decisions that would be reserved to the members, and you would have decisions that would be reserved to the managers. And there could be two separate record-keeping mechanisms for manager decisions versus member decisions. And when do decisions of the manager require the approval of the members? So it can become more complicated. Another concern is asset protection. We believe that manager-managed operating agreements and LLCs have a greater level of protection than member-managed, and here's why. In the event that the members, an individual member of an LLC, is under some sort of creditor attack, i.e. they're being sued or they're going through some financial stress on a personal level, it would be possible with a manager-managed agreement to appoint a separate individual who is outside the jurisdiction of that court proceeding to manage the company. If the member is the sole manager of the company, so it's a member managed agreement, if that individual were under some sort of duress or being commanded by a court to take specific actions, it may be outside of their ability to actually tell the court no. Whereas that manager managed company, the manager could say, no, this is not in the best interest of the company or is strictly in violation of the operating agreement of the company. The last thing to think about is the future growth of your company. If your company is going to be on a path to growth and you anticipate adding additional perhaps members or additional managers in the future, whether silent members, those who are going to have a limited role, or managers who may not be owners of the company at all, manager-managed operating agreement and limited liability company is going to provide you with a greater level of flexibility because you will be able to appoint individuals who will just be managers and have certain amounts of authority, and you may be able to bring on additional members who will not have any control over day-to-day operations of the company. This can give you the potential to adapt to future growth for your limited liability company. So in all, there are many considerations to make when choosing member managed or manager managed. You have to think about control, you have to think about ease of management, asset protection, and future growth.